Welcome to Shadow of Truth with your host Dave Kranzler from investmentresearchdynamics.com and Rory Hall from thedailycoin.org. And today is Tuesday, August the 4th, 2015. And we've got a little market commentary, social commentary, if you will, something a little different.
It's got to be reduced to rubble and rebuilt from the beginning, starting with the Bill of Rights, if it's rebuildable. And likely, what happens is, as history tells us, when a system like ours collapses, invaders from outside come in and pick over the rubble. But unfortunately, we have nuclear weapons, and that's why I think it's going to have a different ending this time, which is where the road went.
Well, but the thing about that, like I was telling you the other day in our last market update, I mean, as soon as if the United States, either directly or through NATO, fires a nuclear weapon at Russia, China, India, Pakistan, any of those countries that are associated with the BRICS or the SCO or the EEU, any of those nations that we fire upon, they're gonna dump the treasuries. That's my belief.
At that point, it won't even matter, dude. At that point, it doesn't even matter. Once the nukes start flying, everything else is irrelevant. Who cares if they dump it? They won't even bother dumping the treasuries. They won't need to, because if any side emerges, still standing from what happens after the nukes start flying, the treasuries will be irrelevant. Once the first bomb goes, dude, forget it. It's a frenzy. Russia's not going to sit there. They'll know as soon as the button's pushed, and they'll start launching themselves. And China will start launching. India has nukes. Pakistan has nukes. Israel has nukes. Who else? Who? God knows who else has them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not worried about what happens with the treasuries. I don't see that as a threat. I mean, this is mutually assured destruction.
But that doesn't serve anybody's interest, is my point.
It doesn't matter. These people who are in power are insane. They're psychopaths.
Well, that's very true. They are completely out of their mind, crazy.
Yeah, okay, let's peel away the possibility that the nukes fly. This system still has to be brought to the ground, and the only way that's going to happen is if the people do it through a revolution. And this Farrakhan dude, if he's the guy that starts it, great. I hope he does. I really do. Because I can't live like we're living anymore. I can't live like this any longer. It's not worth it. I'm like a tortured fly having his wings pulled off. And most people are like that. Most people are living like that. And for them, they don't think there's anything they can do about it. And for half of them, they're living off the government tit. So they don't really even care as long as they get their government subsidies.
Right. That's what I was going to say, is that they don't care.
I
mean, you actually have to care in order for there to be a change. And most of the people, or not most, but 1 in 6 people don't want it to change because they're getting theirs.
Well, they've been drugged. It's basically
exactly
a government drug. They've been lobotomized.
They have been lobotomized.
They're irrelevant. It doesn't. They're going to disappear first anyway when the government collapses. So hey, kudos to Farrakhan. I hope he's the guy that incites something, because this country needs something to be incited.
Well, we'll know pretty quick if how serious these guys are about dissenters and about squelching any insurgents.
If there's any segment of the population that has the balls to do it, it's the blacks, because they don't have much to lose. And if they start something, I'm joining in. I am joining in, because the way it is right now, I'm just having a slow, painful death.
Well, I mean, and that's the plan. The slow burn, as Catherine Austin Fitts calls it. It's not a slow burn, it's a slow bleed is what it is. They're just bleeding out the patient. And we, the citizens of this country, the people that still have any semblance of wealth whatsoever, are the patients. We are the ones that they're bleeding out. And they're doing it by way of the financial system, and they're doing it by way of our freedoms and our rights, which they are stripping at an ever-increasing pace. Well, he's calling for 10,000.
Good. Let's make it 100,000.
I'm looking for 10,000 in the midst of the millions, 10,000 fearless men who say death is sweeter than the continued life under tyranny. It's a direct quote.
Perfect.
Death is sweeter than to continue to live and bury our children while the white folks give the killer hamburgers.
We're living, the white folk, most of the white folks are living under financial tyranny too. They just don't realize it.
They just don't realize it. I mean, that's the whole problem is that we're all living under financial tyranny, and most of the people don't realize it, which is why we do these shows, is to help hopefully wake these people up and to get them on board with the fact that you are being manipulated. Your wealth is being destroyed. Your life is being enslaved. I mean, and it's just that simple.
They know what, you know what, there's so few people that understand it or believe it, or, even, so many, Rory, I just talked to so many people who have hope and they don't even want to hear the negativity. Believe me. They don't even want to hear it.
That's why that's why the approach has to be more positive. That's why the approach has to be, I mean, as far as trying to crack that shell. I mean, it can't just be a beating about the head and shoulders with the truth. I mean, there has to be a different approach as far as, and that's our goal, is to find the key that unlocks that door, so that they do start listening. That's the whole key. That's the reason I do this. It's the reason that I do the Daily Coin. It's the reason that the Daily Coin was founded. Period. Was to help others to find the key that will work to open the door for their family, because there are so many of us out there that do know we do realize there is a problem. We do know what some of the solutions are. We don't know what all the solutions are. We do know what some of them are. And the only way that we can do that is by sharing and spreading that information and to get more people on board. As far as Louis Farrakhan and his approach, is that the right one? I don't know. I mean, but I know that something has to change. I do know that. And I do know that we need to get as many people on board as possible. And he's doing exactly what I've been saying. This is that we need to figure out a way to be united, to get united, and to start moving as one and to start speaking with one voice. Because, and regardless of what people say about collectivism and all that, I don't care. They have a plan. They are on the other side. The enemy on the other side of this is a collective. They have a plan. They work it every single day. And their plan is killing us. Okay? That's the bottom line. So if we don't get a collective going and get united, then they're going to steamroll over us, period. I mean, and I'm as sick of it as you are, Dave. I really am. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having these conversations. I want to do something else with my life other than to continue to report criminality, other than trying to find a solution to get back at these criminals, to get back our lives, to get out of this freaking enslavement. I would much rather be at a casino playing a slot machine or playing blackjack.
Your enthusiasm and optimism is admirable, but unfortunately, it doesn't stand the test of history. And history tells us that we're now in a tidal wave of history that just is going to play out. And history tells us that at best 1% of the population ever tries to affect a change. That there's never been any change like the change that's needed without massive violence and war and suffering. And that's where we're headed. Whether this organizing or whatever is it's all good, and it's I guess if having a positive attitude about it and an optimism about it gets you through the day, then that's what you need. But it's history tells us this doesn't happen. The people, it's just human nature to go with the flow, and the people who are being subjected to this are the ones who go with the flow. The people who are the ones who execute it are the ones who are already in power. And and now it's got to play out. And unfortunately, that involves nuclear weapons, in my opinion. Paul Craig Roberts has the same opinion. There's just nothing we can do. The reason why I do this is, I want to reach out to people. I want to open people's eyes, but you can't force it on people. I mean, we get, if our best video gets 40, 50,000 views, that's nothing, man. That's a drop in the ocean.
I understand.
And my motto is enjoy what you can as much as you can while you can, because this isn't going to last. It's going to get worse.
Well, I do know that it's going to get worse, and it's going to get a lot worse. And I never once, in my little tirade there, I never once said anything about going peacefully into the night. I didn't say that. Did not say that. The only thing that I said is that we, on this side of the fence, we in the truth movement, or whatever you want to call it, that we need to begin moving together. We need to. That's what I'm saying. And whatever that movement is, that's what we need to start doing. But we need to do it together. We need to do it as brothers in arms, locked in arms, and ready to take it to them, ready to take them to task. And that's what Louis Farrakhan is saying. Louis Farrakhan is saying, I'm sick up to my eyebrows of these killer cops going around getting away with murder in the streets in broad daylight. And by God, we need to start standing up and facing them and taking them out. And, I don't know if that's what it takes, and that's what it takes. I mean, something has to change. That's what I know. Something has to change. So, but what needs to change right now is the gold and silver sentiment. And we're getting ready to speak with Bill Murphy, bring him on the line. And as far as what's happening with the gold and silver market right now is utterly, it fits right with what we've just been talking about, Dave. You've got propaganda and lies perpetrated by criminals through criminal activity, through fraud, pretending to be an economy, pretending to be a financial system when it's nothing but fraud. Period.
Yeah, it's total fraud. I mean, it's all paper gold, and for now, the paper gold seems to be bulletproof.
Well, how does that change, though? I mean, we've got record demand globally.
Well, at some point, the physical market will overwhelm the paper market, but no one knows when, because no one knows just how much gold is left sitting in Western central bank vaults that they can use to continue making deliveries. I mean, we saw the ratio of paper to physical on the COMEX is like 124 to 1. All right. And I would bet, 4 or 5 years ago, when Jeffrey Christian vomited out that 100 to 1 gold ratio in London during the CFTC hearings on silver manipulation, everyone was kind of shocked. And then he tried to retract it. And then an Indian central bank official, vice president of finance or something like that, came out and said that the ratio of paper to gold to physical gold claims was something like 93 to 1. So we basically reaffirmed the number that Jeffrey Christian blurted out. At some point, they're going to fail on deliveries. And a friend and colleague of mine thinks that that's what they may just be, getting ready to do that on the COMEX, and they're squeezing every last ounce of gold and every last dollar out of manipulating the COMEX market that they can before it happens. I honestly, no one knows, Rory. That's the thing. I mean, all we can do is speculate.
Well, and I understand that, but I mean, there has to be a trigger event, though. I mean, there has to be something that triggers it, and if you're saying that trigger event is in fact, a failure to deliver, I mean, is that it? Is that our one option? They have limitless digits on a screen. They can do that into perpetuity. I mean, they can go from here to infinity and beyond. I mean, and it's just that simple. I mean, the digits on the screen are an illusion. And that's all that they are. That includes your bank account.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just an illusion.
They
of
can
money.
wipe out your bank account with one stroke of the computer. And at some point, they probably will.
That they will. They've already told us they're going to. They've already
Essentially,
told us
in so many words, yeah.
Yes. I mean, why else would you have exit gates in place?
Right, exactly.
You know, well, we just put those there for looks. They look so nice on your account.
Exactly.
Oh. Well, should we bring Mr. Murphy on and see what he has to say about all this? If he thinks a force majeure is going to happen, or if the COMEX is just going to blow up, or just change, or how it's going to play out?
Sure. Sounds good to me. I'm always up for listening to what Bill Murphy has to say. I mean, I read his Midas report every night at lametropolcafe.com, and it always has invaluable information. And why don't we hear from Mr. Midas himself?
Well, we're going to change gears and we're going to change video. So if you'll just click the screen where it says to, then it'll take you directly to the interview with Bill Murphy. And we certainly appreciate everybody tuning in and giving us a listen.